Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about Die, the RPG. So it's been a couple of years in the making. I remember going to a comic book shop with which had a signing with Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans, which is where I picked up my copy of Die #1. And it was incredible to meet them, and it was amazing them telling us the story about sort of how they created it and what the struggles that they went through. And then as it started coming out, each issue did talk about the potential of an RPG that they were working on. And 20 issues in, they're saying, it is coming, it's coming, it's coming. And then it happened on Kickstarter. And again, even that itself has been a year or so in the making, and it has finally turned up. And so that's the cover, and then this is the book itself. Oh, it's beautiful covering there. I love the scales. Oh, so nice. It's so big for an RPG rule book. I mean, then again, I know D&D is massive. I can never get around to reading them, but this is something that I am determined to read. Not just because it's tied to Die, which I think is probably one of my favorite comics. If not of the last couple of years, that I've read. Unfortunately, it did have an ending that I wasn't too sure about. I did think the ending didn't quite stick for me, but I don't really want to go into that. I don't want to go into the spoilers. For anyone that hasn't, I think I did a video on it. I can't even remember. But this does actually start with a prequel comic of a couple of pages, so it'd be really interesting to read that. But then it goes into detail about the actual characters themselves and how to create your own Die scenario. And this is why I'm really interested to read it. You go through the characters and it tells you all of the different traits and how to build up the character and everything like that. But I think one of the things that I found the most interesting in a brief read was the Godbinder character. And the Godbinder character is someone who is tied to the gods, as it says. She or he, it's she in the comic, calls in favors from the gods to help the team get out of some sort of sticky situations. But then she owes the gods, and they make her do some vile things to repay them back. And God, if I remember right, I think one of them was reading in front of a class her youthful diary. It's some ridiculous stuff, and it's really interesting in here because you don't get to meet all of the gods, but you are aware there's quite a few of them. So you get to see things like, well, in here it details them all. So you've got things like the Fate God, the Sea God, the Eldritch God, the God of Excess. All of these gods, the reference, but we don't actually get to see too much of in the series. And considering it was a series of only 20 issues, it's not, it wouldn't be unheard of. But Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans have clearly gone into a lot of detail in this just to make sure that they've padded out the world. And it was something that I did say when I was reading the comic, that the world building itself is incredible. And it was so frustrating at times where you want to see a battle, you want to see more of the world. They're describing things, they're showing things, or they've just come away from something. You're thinking, I want to see more. It was so infuriating because it's such an incredibly built world that they've got. So to be able to sort of get a little part of that here will just be fantastic. So as I was saying, going through the characters, this is one of the most interesting things I've seen about this. With the Godbinder character, they've got the sort of how to level up the character there, which I find fantastic because I think that's a 20-sided die if it's actually folded up properly. But where is it? I want to say is it that one? No, it's that one there, where they called that stage Wicked or Divine. And I think that is amazing because Kieran Gillen himself did a comic called The Wicked and the Divine, which is something I was really wanting to read, but unfortunately I don't believe it's going to be produced as an omnibus. So I will have to try and find a copy somewhere. Because again, that in itself, I loved most of what Kieran Gillen has done. I think He shows that he is an incredible world builder. I would say that he is... Oh, this is going to be some big praise. Modern day Tolkien, in terms of the world building. You know, everything that Tolkien did with Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth, I think that Kieran Gillen has done that with Die. There is so much here that I think it does kind of rival it. And it definitely doesn't disappoint in terms of the artwork. I think Stephanie Hans's artwork is phenomenal. I have been a fan of hers for a long time now. I even believe that when I first started reading Die, I thought, well, I'm not too sure about the art. But it was so gripping. And the more I read of it, the more I thought, my God, this art is fantastic. It's got a very traditional style to it. It's very kind of like watercolors, paintbrush. And again, going through a quick flick through of the book, I came across that little panel there. Now, I have read Die. I've read it through once. I will read it through again once I get emotionally around to it. But I don't remember that in the comic at all. And that does make me wonder, have they put more into this than was actually in the comic? Or is this a lot of like the sort of deleted scenes stuff? I think it's going to be really interesting to find out. And I think if they wanted to, they could potentially bring out another couple of books. They could even bring out another series of the comic. And I'm absolutely thrilled. I cannot remember how much money this was on Kickstarter. But I do remember that as soon as it was released, I went, I need to have it. And I need to have a relatively good edition of it. Because I loved this series. Like I said, apart from the ending, I loved this series. I thought, as I've said already in this video, I think the world building is phenomenal. Kieran Gillen is clearly a very talented writer. And I cannot wait to dive into this in my own way. And as they say in this book, all adventures of ours are canon. So I can't wait. I need to get some friends together to do this. I know I've got a friend on YouTube, The Hound Reacts, who I will be contacting because I believe he's got a copy of his own. So we are going to have to get together and play a game. I cannot wait. I will give you guys an update to see how it goes, what it's like. I'm excited. If you have read Die, or even if you have just randomly pre-ordered or pledged to this on Kickstarter, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe because it really does help me out. And I'll see you all in the next video.